Hey guys, this is Steeler Dude 11 and today I am back with another video. This video is just basically, I'm going to be talking about my last final thoughts before the 2019 season officially goes underway. Now I know there were some games last weekend, but those were like the week 0 games and there were only 2 games. I think college football truly starts when there's like over 100 games in a week. Or I wouldn't say over 100, I mean like a lot of games where basically nearly every team plays except if they're on a bye week. So the first week 1 games are tonight. Of course, Clemson, the number 1 team of the country, plays today against Georgia Tech, which they should easily win that. So basically, before the season goes underway, I'm going to talk about my final thoughts before the season starts. So, does Michigan have a chance to make the Big Ten championship? Yes. They're actually the team that is expected to go to the Big Ten championship, and Michigan is the team that is expected to win the Big Ten in general. Can Michigan make it to the college football playoffs? Yes, I think they can make it to the college football playoffs. I think the only way they'll do it is if, they don't lose a game this year. Maybe if they lose, like, a close game to, like, a really good team, like Notre Dame or Ohio State or something like that, and they still win the Big Ten, and they could have a chance at the playoffs. But I think if Michigan wants a clear shot at making the playoffs, they're going to have to go regular season undefeated and not lose a single game, which that's going to be tough to do, especially since Michigan has the 9th hardest schedule in the nation. And luckily for Michigan, they have Notre Dame, Michigan State, and Ohio State at home. And Michigan's toughest road game will be, against Penn State on October 19th. Because last time Michigan played there, they got killed. It was Penn State won 42-13, but that was back when Penn State had Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley, but now McSorley's at the Ravens and Barkley's at the Giants. Actually, Barkley's been at the Giants. This will be his 2nd season, and McSorley's a rookie this year. And Penn State doesn't have that Miles Sanders running back that they had last year as well. Now I think he went to the Eagles or something. Anyway, so I'm just basically talking about Michigan at first. This video is not just about Michigan. It's about the entire college football, but I'm starting off with Michigan. Anyway, like I said, I do think Michigan can win the Big Ten, and I do think Michigan can make the college football playoff. But like I said, if Michigan wants to make the playoffs, I think they're going to have to go 12-0 in regular season and then win the Big Ten championship and be 13-0 when they go into the playoffs. Who will win the national championship? It's either going to be Clemson or Alabama again. If it's a different team, then I'm going to be shocked. What do I think the college football national championship game will be? Most likely, it's going to be Clemson versus Alabama again, unless if they play against each other in a semifinal game, like they did in the 2017 season, and then the national championship was Bama against Georgia. I hope, because that year was stupid because Alabama made the college football playoff even though they didn't even play in the SEC championship game. And people say, it's because Wisconsin lost the Big Ten championship to Ohio State, and that's why Alabama got in. If you don't win or at least play in your conference championship, then I don't think you deserve to be in the playoffs. Now, I know Notre Dame made the playoff last year, even though they're not even in a conference. And I think that's because, they're like, they shouldn't be punished. Hold on, I can't even talk. Jesus Christ. Notre Dame has never been in a conference. If you look back in the independence, back in 1976, back when the college football split into Division 1A and Division 1AA, which is basically the FBS and the FCS. They were renamed to that. Notre Dame was an independent, and they have been for the past 40 years. I feel like they've never, ever been in a conference for as long as they've been playing football. Now, if you look at the other sports, like Notre Dame is in the ACC in basketball, and Notre Dame is in the Big Ten in hockey, and I don't know what they're in baseball. They might be in the ACC. I don't know. If any of you know in the comment section, then let me know. But Notre Dame is the only Notre Dame football is the only sport for Notre Dame that's not in a conference. Every other sport for Notre Dame is. So the question is, why is Notre Dame not in a conference for football? Well, it's probably because, they haven't been shown why they need to be in a conference. Like last year, Notre Dame made the playoffs. They weren't punished for not being in a conference. They weren't punished for not risking a loss in a conference championship game. If Notre Dame were to be in a conference based on region, it could be the Big Ten, but also it could be the ACC because Notre Dame, the majority of the teams that Notre Dame plays every year are ACC teams, which the ACC, it lets Notre Dame just play a lot of teams in their conference even though they're not in the conference. So basically Notre Dame is halfway in the ACC. So Notre Dame won't join a conference until they're proven that they need to be in a conference in order to do something good. Like last year, they were proven right again that they don't need to be in a conference in order to have a chance at a national championship. Like in 2012, Notre Dame went to a national championship even though they just finished 12-0 and Alabama was 13-0 and they won the SEC that year. And of course, Notre Dame gets killed. Notre Dame hasn't won a major bowl game since 1988 when they won the national championship. Since 1988, every single time Notre Dame has been in a major bowl game, the national championship, or the college football playoff semifinal, they were killed in it. Notably last year when they lost to Clemson 30-3 in the semifinal, a lot of Notre Dame fans will say, "Oh, it's because Julian Love didn't play." Yeah, one defensive player isn't going to change the game for you guys. If Ian Book, for instance, was hurt, then that might be probable, but still, couldn't even score a touchdown, and you let Clemson score 30 on you. All right, so enough blabbering about Notre Dame. Clemson's number one team right now. They might be number one throughout the entire season, unless if they lose a game or if they barely beat a crap team, and then Alabama be like, "Oh, here I am. I'm number one now," which I think we can all say, except for Bama fans, that we're sick and tired of Alabama being number one and being in the playoff. Like we have not had a college football playoff yet that Alabama wasn't in. Every single year, Alabama was in. And only one of those playoffs, Alabama was not in the championship game. And that was the first ever one when they lost in the semifinal to Ohio State. And then Ohio State would go on to win the national championship. Anyway, now I'll explain who I think is going to win each conference. I think Clemson will win the ACC, Oklahoma will win the Big 12, Michigan will win the Big 10. Washington should win the Pac-12, and Alabama will win the SEC. I think Central Florida will win the American Athletic again. Conference USA is difficult. It might be UAB again, because a lot of teams in the Conference USA are not good at all. Except Middle Tennessee, where they're a decent team, and UAB won the Conference USA last year. They might win it again this year. I think Boise State will win the Mountain West. Northern Illinois or Ohio or one of those teams could win the MAC. I think it's going to be Ohio that wins the MAC. And then Appalachian State will win the Sun Belt. So those are the conference winners. Who will be in the college football playoff? Well, I think it's going to be It's going to be the conference winners. It's going to be, I don't think that two teams from the same conference will be in the playoffs this year. I think the playoffs are going to be Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Michigan. I honestly think Michigan is going to be in the playoff this year because there's no doubt in my mind that Michigan can go undefeated this year. That's the best they can do. I think Michigan has a shot at winning all 12 regular season games this year. So, yeah, that's what I think the playoffs will be. Like, I think Michigan will be the number 4 team, and they'll play Clemson in the semifinal, and Alabama will play Oklahoma again in the semifinal, and then I think Clemson and Alabama will be in the national championship again. Unless if Oklahoma and Michigan can prove that they can beat those teams, then we'll see. Or that might not even be the playoffs anyway. But anyway, so that's what I think is going to be. Who's the worst? Who do I think is going to be the worst team in the FBS this year? You know, it's probably going to be UTEP or Rice or Connecticut. Or I think Connecticut was the worst team last year because nobody went 0-12 last year. Every single team won at least one game, but UTEP went 0-12 back in 2017, and then last year they went 1-11. Rice went 2-11. They played 13 games instead of 12, and then Connecticut went 1-11, even though they used to be decent. Anyway, so that's what I think how the season will play out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I'm not going to do any more prediction videos unless if it's for like the 2020 season, but that won't be until next year after the season ends, and then we know, based on how these teams played in 2019, we can base them on how they will be in 2020. Anyway, so that's it for off-season stuff. If I talk about any college football stuff from here on out, it'll be like how I think games went, post-game analysis for Michigan games, talking about, I am going to do a video on the updated top 25 for every week, and then I'll do a video on the college football playoff poll when that comes out on the first Tuesday of November, which is when it usually comes out. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.